Hi guys, Ray here from City Fan TV, and I'm joined by my mate Bernard. How you doing, Bernard?
Yeah, not a bad day. It's starting to cloud over a little bit, but it's still warm.
Warm, yeah, very muggy, and we both got some City gear on. What are you wearing, Bernard?
I have no idea, mate. I got it years ago. I just like the colour that I like. I've always liked maroon anyway, so I got it for that basis, really. And I think at the time I didn't have much with the new badge on. I had most of the old, the old one on the wall there at the back, the old eagle ones, and obviously the older fashion ones. But I think this is one of my first ones where I had the modern version of the badge. So I liked it. I'm not into shirts with lots of stuff on. I like just a simple badge or a simple logo. I'm not into big brash stuff. So it's been a staple wear over the years.
Yeah. Since you're a bit of a history buff, when did we change from that eagle with the three unknown stars?
Oh God, must have been around when we changed grounds, wasn't it? Around that time, I would have thought. Might have been a bit later.
Talking around early 2000s.
Yeah, I'd have to check, mate. I'd say without my reference books and stuff, I'm knackered most of the time.
I know in the 90s. I know in the late 90s we had. I remember having the eagle. With the eagle on.
I mean, I did a thing a few weeks back on when the badge actually changed to this from the eagle, but I say my memory, unless I've got it in front of me, I just can't remember when it was.
This one, what's this one?
Yeah,
this is Champions 2017-18. It was, I don't know, it wasn't for the champion. It's just one of these shirts they put out to make mugs like me take advantage of mugs like me when I had a few quid. I say, hey, go on. And I very rarely wear it. I only got it because it'd been, I don't know why. I got a massive rail. Actually, I found a bag full of City stuff yesterday. Going through a room, found a bag of, I think it was a jacket there and some shirts. I thought, I
don't have a single jacket. I don't have a single jacket, I don't have anything warm, like in the winter when it's a bit warmer. I don't have any jackets at all to wear. I don't have any City tracky tops or anything. I have nothing that's warm.
If you weren't an extra large, I got loads.
I got in my brother, the new shirt, obviously with that collar. Well, I got the old brother one, which had the same collar on, and I don't think it was mine. I think it's my lad's, but it was only I got in it, and it didn't look that bad because obviously it was close up. I wouldn't walk around in it, but that was large, so I did manage to get in that. So I'm not too bad. I'm a bit of weight at the moment as well, so I'm not too bad.
I know we've got a video to do about Declan Rice and pieces and cheeky at Begeristan, but I've got to say this: I did a competition a few years ago. Fantasy Football League and Fantasy Premier League, and the winner was it a guy called Umair or something like it was from Pakistan. The prize was a City I think it was a training shirt or something. It was signed by Pep. I think Fernandinho and Bernardo or something like that, and it was a size small. And this guy, he put it on for the picture just to show us, but he weren't a small. It was a tight fit. It's like he'd just got ice cubes in.
I mean, if you keep very still and have it up here, you can get away with it. But if you start, strolling around in it, no, forget it.
I mean, that was a free competition. We had, I think that's 70, 80, 90 entries that year. And I look back and say, once I decided to give it away, I thought, I got a signed shirt from Pep. That's worth a bit of money, that.
Yeah.
And anyway, so I digress.
We digress on the
guys. I'm off to Northern Ireland in a couple of hours, so I've got the drive, got to pack. So let's get cracking onto the what we're here 4 minutes in. We're just gassing away, but it's all good fun, bit of banter, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, guys. You will get videos almost every day now. On transfer talk, and obviously season's about six weeks away, something like that. It's bonkers. We're going to talk about obviously Declan Rice. The story is that Arsenal have had 2 bids turned down for Declan Rice. Arsenal historical. I'm going to talk about history in a minute, but they're historical lowballers. Arsenal. That's not class. We're going to talk about history and class in a minute. But Arsenal are historic lowballers. Actually, we are going out live. I do apologise. This is a live video. I didn't realise I was going to edit this afterwards, but I've just noticed it is going out live. So this is meant to be private. I apologise, Bernard. Good job we didn't say anything that we shouldn't have said.
Yeah, I would have put my pants on if I'd known.
No, that we do. I tell you what, that saves me trying to edit this before I get on the ferry. I've got a 4-hour drive to the ferry, and I'm thinking I can't edit it while I'm going, so it's probably just as well that it's going out live. What a plonker of me for doing that. I'm half tempted to stop, and because
you mentioned that. I mean, I saw that picture with history, tradition, and class. I mean, the only thing I take umbrage with is class. I mean, that's the only thing. It shows a lack of class to me, the way these Arsenal fans are banging on about things, because history and tradition. You know, you're going to talk about it now. Accrington Stanley got history and tradition. Wimbledon have got history and tradition. It's just garbage.
Yeah. Everybody's got history and tradition. You go back to the first ever Invincibles. I mean, Arsenal fans talk about they're the only ones. No. The first ever Invincibles were Proud Preston.
I was to say Proud Preston, yeah.
So, Bernard, before we get into it, just tell us a little bit about City's history and how it precedes Arsenal's history, because City were born before Arsenal. City won their first trophy before Arsenal. City won in Europe before Arsenal. Do you want to go through a little bit of the history? So, because it's not a private video now, it's going to be out live stream. So you might as well spend a minute talking about the history of City that people seem to forget.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's like Arsenal. Obviously, you see the various things. If we won a major trophy 25 years or what before Arsenal. We obviously won a European trophy. I mean, that's trophy winning, isn't it? That's not history. For me, I mean, they totally misdirect what history is and what trophy winning is. And let's face it, I think we're almost third or now third on trophy lists, major trophies.
It's fourth because United are...
I think Chelsea are ahead, aren't they, still?
Yeah, so we're about fifth. I think we're about fifth.
No, Arsenal probably ahead, aren't they? So
yeah, Arsenal definitely.
I think we're getting near Chelsea. I think it's obviously Liverpool, United, obviously Arsenal,
almost FA Cups.
Yeah, and then Chelsea, and that's trophies. That's nothing to do. So when you start saying yes, we won an FA Cup, a major trophy, so many years before Arsenal, it doesn't really mean anything. That's trophy wins. That's part of your history. Of course it is. Of course it's part of your history. I mean, City goes back to 1880. I'm not sure offhand. I think Arsenal's is a similar time.
Afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking before the wars. I mean, Arsenal were the powerhouse. Obviously, the powerhouse. You can argue they bought their first titles from Huddersfield. Huddersfield had won it 3 years on the trot. There's something on Twitter today on Arsenal fans saying, yes, we earned our money and we spent loads of money when we were the Bank of England, but there's still a big benefactor behind them. So there's still, they like to say these things, but every club's had input of some sort. And in those years, you were getting massive crowds, so you did have quite good revenue. City had quite good revenue. Arsenal were known as the powerhouse in the south, and City for a long time were the powerhouse up north. We were the northern, if you like, not equivalent of Arsenal, but we were the guys up that had the money and spent the things. And even
we lost Bernard. We lost you, Bernard. Oh, the joys of live video. Bernard's frozen. Are you back, mate? Come on, keep going.
You're right. Yeah, that only changed obviously after the Second World War with United taking precedent. But really, there was a big argument that City were by far the bigger club and the most historic club, even though we hadn't won as many trophies as United.
Just to chuck it out there, the biggest league attendance at non-Wembley.
Yeah, of course it is. But I mean, again, it's like anything. If United had a 100,000 stadium at that stage, they would have probably got it. It's just how it is. But what it is, the basis of this is what small club on this earth, right, would have moved from a 35, 40,000. What small club, and this is all in here. It's all in here. What club would have planned to build? It was planned to be 120,000 size stadium, Main Road. That was the initial plans in the early days before obviously a bit of recession came in and stuff like that. Oh, we'll keep it to 90,000, but that was the plans. Now you're telling me a small club thinks like that, and that wasn't the attitude we had in the 1900s, the 1910s, the 1920s. We wanted to be the biggest, right? It didn't always work out. But yeah, of course, we had the 84,569 crowd for the Stoke City FA Cup game. United had their biggest crowd at Main Road when they were playing at Main Road as well, because over the period we lent them the ground from time to time and stuff like this. So their biggest attendance was against us. Yes, if Old Trafford expanded to 100,000 tomorrow, of course he'd dwarf that. We know that. We're not saying that. I mean, we know how immense United are and etc. etc. But City had the foresight at the time to do this, to build that massive ground. And would Rochdale have done that? Would Gillingham? Well, no disrespect to all these teams, but it was only because City were a massive club. We had the not audacity, the actual forethought, and in hindsight, to do it. No, that's what we wanted to do because we knew we were big. So to say City are a small club in history is just go back to the 1900s and you can see City. I mean, look at the FA Cup homecoming. Was it 1934? An estimate over 1 million people. It'd never been seen in the country. All right, it's a long time ago now, but that's history. That's history for you. It's not just all about how many trophies you've got in the cabinet.
Absolutely. And it's all revisionist. It's all the recent stuff is what's they're looking at. Oldest club in the world, Sheffield FC, innit?
Sheffield, yeah, Notts County quite. What are they? They must be one of the oldest, aren't they? Yeah.
Notts County were second. They were the originals, founders of the Football League. So, that's history.
Yeah, of course it is.
History.
That's history, tradition. I mean, class comes from, where does class come from? And that's just a word that Arsenal seem to class as though they're the only team with class, really.
Here's the thing. The class doesn't come from showing banners like that. So that's not class from the fans. The class doesn't come at United when they show banners like they did for 34 years after City done so much to help them.
Class is when a club looks after your neighbour. Class is when a club actually allows a club to play at a ground when a ground's been. But class is when you sort of don't chat. You're reasonable to people. That's class. City have shown class throughout history to our immediate neighbours, and I'm sure to other teams as well.
Look, class is when you lend them kits or give them your second kit. Or your blue kit, basically, from the previous season, because they can't afford a kit. That's class.
Class is when you let them play at your ground because you've got no floodlights, so they can play in Europe. When you could have easily said, "No, we're going to play in Europe instead of you because you haven't got floodlights." We were offered the opportunity to play in Europe again with the air crashes, stuff like that. City, because City was still a big team, they were offered from Europe to play in that trophy in their stead. Said, no, we won't do that. We'll help them out and so they can play and stuff like that. And that's class. That's class. If Arsenal fans want to look at what class means.
Yeah. So we did that class part a bit earlier than we thought, but it's done. So let's look at Declan's situation. Okay. Now, as I said, Arsenal put the low ball bids because they don't want to pay what West Ham want, and West Ham are perfectly entitled within their rights to charge what they like, request what they like, and Arsenal, if they want him, pay for him. Same as United at the moment with Mason Mount for a few million quid. If you want the guy, pay the money. Yes, you want to negotiate, blah blah blah. It's a bit unseemly, all this bit bartering. Hey, who doesn't like a bargain? But you want him. He's your number one target. Why
don't insult the club you're buying off by and that's sorted down with having I suppose a bit of class in a way. Don't insult the team you want to buy off because you think you're going to get him by coming in low.
And that he'll kick up a stink to make that move. Don't do that. And if he's your number one target and you put two or three bids in because he's your number one target, for 2 or 3 million quid, you're walking away looking at another player who's even more expensive, who doesn't even play that position. So it means this is what when Khaldoon talks about clubs can't look after themselves. This is what he's talking about. They can't manage themselves. They've been mismanaged, and they vent their frustration and anger and jealousy, green-eyed envy, or whatever you want to call it, at City because City is successful on and off the pitch. I'll repeat this. We're not going to discuss it, but I'll repeat. How can you have Mason Mount as your number one target, put 2 or 3 bids in, lowball them, but you put 2 or 3 bids in, and now you're about 3 million quid apparently different between what Chelsea want and what you want to pay, and you say, no, we're gonna cut our noses off to spite our face. No, we're not going to do this. We're going to walk away. We're going to offer more from Moses, this Caicedo chap from Brighton, who's going to cost you more. Don't play the same position. It stinks. It smacks of stupidity and fits a peak. And who's going to lose out of this? Manchester United. This is what they're one of their big problems. Anyway, so Declan Rice. The rumours are now that Declan Rice, wants to stay within London. But here's the thing. The reason he wants to leave, why is it he's leaving? Not his boyhood club was Chelsea, but he stayed there till he was about 14. He's been at West Ham for about 10 years. It's in his blood now. Okay, any old iron. It's in his blood. Why is he leaving? He's leaving Arsenal because leaving West Ham because he's apparently ambitious. He wants to win trophies and the big trophies. He's won some at West Ham. I think he's dead content about that. He's, if he'd left without winning something, he'd have felt it. But here's a question, Bernard, and it's a very simple one. It's a very simple question, very simple answer. If you want to win trophies, if you want to win the big trophies in the next few years, where'd you go?
In England, obviously your immediate stop would, certainly for the next couple of years, while Pep's there, it would be City. Perhaps he's thinking further ahead. Perhaps he's thinking 4 or 5 years down the line where perhaps Pep isn't there, and what's City going to do? Are we going to collapse? I don't think so. But, at this point in time, Arsenal have all the potential. Of course, they've got a good, mainly young team. They've got an up-and-coming manager who, can impress at times, but other times... sort of making me a bit disappointed how he acts on and off the pitch.
But I'm sorry, Arteta hasn't got them over the line in the last 2 seasons. They bottled it for the Champions League previous season, bottled the league. They should have won the league last season. No
guarantees with Arsenal. They've had one good season, as you said, where literally we ended up winning the season with 3 games to go, and that just means Arsenal bottled it. We were very good, but Arsenal bottled it.
Yeah, look, we won the league by 5 points, losing our last game and drawing the previous one because we weren't bothered. We were that far ahead. We could have won by 12 points, as Gary Neville said end of last year. City will win it by 10 points. We should have won it by at least 10 points. And Arsenal did. In the first half of the season, was it 117 or something like that? They got 50 points in the first half of the season, first 19 games. And it shows they bottled it because in the remaining 19 games, they got something like 34 points. That's rubbish. That what you're scraping, fighting for Champions League position. So there's no guarantee with Arsenal that they will continue in this same vein. There's no guarantee. City, there's no guarantee. We're going to keep winning, but the history's on our side. You can see what we've done with Mancini, with Pellegrini, with Pep. We've had that consistent success. Arsenal haven't won the league title for 19 years. 19 years since they've won it, So they haven't got any recent success, history of winning big trophies. They haven't won the Champions League. They won something in Europe. We both had air when Arsenal won something big in the past. They've not won the league. They've not won the Champions League for 19 years. City have done 5 and 6. Now, so does it smack to you of lacking ambition if you're going to say you end up at Arsenal and you want to live around the corner?
Well, there is always the problem. I mean, at the end of the day, City we like to do our transfer business early, don't we? Declan Rice, I know there's been a lot of hearsay and rumour about it, but who's to say City are actually, or Pep at this point in time would really needs him? Yeah. So perhaps, this it's not ambition. Perhaps City, because of our, if you like, sitting on the fence or just not really sort of plunging in, he's thinking of it. Obviously, the only option he's got at the moment is Arsenal because City haven't made any sort of bid or looked at him.
But if City are interested, wouldn't you hang on for them?
Wouldn't we know something about that? All it is just here, City. Arsenal put 2 or 3 bids in. City put a bid in. All I'm here is we've not even put a bid in.
I heard that City put a bid in, which was 75 million plus 15 million quid in add-ons. Now, the difference between Arsenal and City is those add-ons probably will happen. Arsenal's and City, the other thing, so Arsenal's add-ons are dependent on winning things like the Champions League and stuff like that. City's probably are as well. But who do you think is going to win the Champions League or the league? And it's over the next 5 years.
He would walk into Arsenal's team and play regularly. He won't walk into our team and play regularly.
That's my next point. But the other thing is, apparently City said we'll pay that 75 million in 2 installments. Arsenal want it to be paid over 4 years. So
I just think if City are in for him, they're a bit more. You hear it a little bit more from certain people that City have made this bid, and seems a little bit wishy-washy for me.
That's the bit I've heard. So whether it's true or not, that's what I'd read or heard. That's where City were at. And if you think if City and Arsenal are offering a similar amounts, then for West Ham's purposes, City's is a better deal because they're getting paid much quicker, much better for your cash flow. And for Declan, it's all that trophy winning. I mean, come on, Declan, you want to win trophies? Manchester's where you win trophies. Well, Manchester City. I mean, all the trophies went to Manchester. I mean, even if the third trophy that we don't mention unless we win it went to the other half. But the last point is you just touched on it, Bernard. is Declan Rice worried that he's not going to get in the side because we've already got KDB? Bernardo might not leave. We've got we just bought Kovacic. We got Rodri. We got Calvin Phillips. Do you think that
Stones? I mean, Stones is now become integral to whatever Pep's plan is for the next 2 seasons.
Rico Lewis can play there as well. So, do you think Declan Rice is chickening out? Is he worried that he won't get any game time at City?
Of course he is. He's got to worry that he's going to get rid, but it's up to him. He's got confidence in himself. We've seen it with other players coming to City. I mean, some players have got confidence in themselves. They come and do a job, and they're happy with that. Declan Rice is, not to be unfair on Declan Rice, it is a big move for him now. Of where he's going to go. I mean, he's established England, perhaps international now as well. So his next step, if there's no European team got the money or interested, it's very important for him. I mean, West Ham, as you say, he's done as much as he can. I think they've won a little trophy. It's not the greatest trophy in the world, but it's one more than they would have hoped a few years back. They've got that. Investment-wise, again, they'll just trundle along, I think, won't they, West Ham? I don't see any great vision, 5-10-year plan of taking them up to another level with West Ham. I've not seen any evidence of that. So, yeah, it's very important for Declan Rice to make that decision. Now, as a footballer, you want to be playing every week. But as a footballer, you've got to think, yeah, I'm pretty good. He plays with City players. He knows what City players are like. He plays with City players in the England squad. He knows exactly what talent, what level he's got to get to. So perhaps he's looked at that. And yeah, as you say, perhaps he's a little bit worried that he might not be able to match it or go that next step up from being a stalwart at West Ham. But it is hard. I mean, it must be hard. I mean, is it about money? If it's all about money, then that doesn't really matter. If he's a footballer, he loves playing football and he wants to win things, it's a big, big decision. And I wouldn't blame him for going to Arsenal, apart from the fact that West Ham fans won't like it. And obviously, he's one of the, he wears his hearts on his sleeve, presumably Declan Rice over the years. So that will be a strange move. But obviously, that's a football move rather than thinking about, I've upset loads of West Ham fans. West Ham fans will accept it. I'm sure they're a bit like us. If he decides to do it, he'll let him get on with it, and they're not going to send men in black round to his house, are they, like other clubs we know who obviously players threaten to do certain things. So, yeah, it is an odd one. As I say, I'm not overly convinced how dedicated City are on buying Declan Rice at the moment, because I think we've got so many options. I think Pep, if he does bring Guardiola in, I think we're seeing a definite change in Pep's tactics, where he, of course, we know he'd like to play a team of midfielders, but I think that's changed with the arrival of Haaland. I think that philosophy's changed for Pep now, and in the last 2 seasons we'll see a slightly more, well, it'll never be normal with Pep, will it? But a slightly normal football formations appearing with Pep, where you got your strikers and you've got good defenders, and I think defensively we'll be stronger, and that means the midfield will be stronger as well. But whether Declan Rice is good enough to add to that, of course he is, but it would be a battle for him. So it is a big, big decision. I can't make that. He can make it from a footballing point of view, and I certainly Pep will improve. I've watched a guy playing football on the park this morning. Pep will improve anybody. It doesn't matter who they are. So of course he's going to improve under Pep. But then, as I said, if it's a 5-year thing, we don't know what's happening after Pep. So that's going to come into players' minds as well.
You'd expect City to carry on the dynasty.
I mean, before Pep, right? We weren't obviously winning as much as, but perhaps should have won more than we did before Pep. Obviously, a little bit, So obviously, whoever we're getting after Pep, there's nothing to say. All right, we're not going to win trebles every season or every double trebles in 4 or 5 years, but we'll still be winning trophies.
Yeah, but some of the names in the frame would be someone like Vincent Kompany, you'd respect, And one of Declan's heroes was Yaya Toure, who played for City. The 2 other points now, you've just made me. You're not made me forget, but I can't remember. No, one. Okay, first, City will play at least 60 games this season. We're going to play 38 in the league. Yeah. Okay, we're going to play minimum of 6, probably. Let's say, if we're reasonable, 8 in the Champions League. Okay, that gets you to 46. You got FA Cup and League Cup. That gets you to somewhere in the 50s. Club World Cup. 2 games, Super Cup, Community Shield. minimum City going to play is about 56 games, and that's getting knocked out of trophies early. So, if you play everything like Liverpool did the other season, you're looking at about 65 games in the season, and he'll get his game time. And the other thing is, when you look at the City players, when they're not playing, generally, unless you're Joao Cancelo and Laporte, they're not making a song and dance about it. They're on they're disappointed, but they're still pally. It's still a team. Everybody's winning together. And look, you want to be on that pitch contributing. You want to be playing, but you still take a lot of satisfaction from your team winning. So I'll be disappointed in Declan. I won't be disappointed for City, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But I would be disappointed for Declan Rice if he chooses Arsenal simply because it's closer, simply because he feels he'll get in the team next season, and he's not looking at what's happening.
And you don't know his allegiance, mate. I mean, he might not be, he might not like Manchester. You just don't know anything. There might be any number of reasons. I remember when United was successful and they were winning everything, absolutely everything. There was loads of players they tried to get that didn't want to come to Manchester. They weren't interested. They weren't interested in coming to. I know it sounds daft, but they were. I remember at the time thinking, "Oh yeah, they've gone for this big name from Barcelona, Real Madrid, and I think these teams were around." And they couldn't get him. They obviously ended up at one of the big European teams, and that's when United were the only team, but virtually in England at that stage, you'd go to. They were the only team winning things, with the odd Arsenal and Chelsea being thrown in and stuff like this. Liverpool back in the, you want to go further back, but so there's reasons. It's not always a matter of footballing reasons. There's other reasons, of course.
Yeah. Guys, we got Fagry there saying if he was called Mason van der Mutele's and United offer about 80 million instead of Mason Mount. MCFC 99 hopefully goes to Arsenal. He isn't good enough for City, just his opinion. Alex, I can't even say Calispiri because I'm doing an early stream because I was going to do this as a private video and then put it out later, some pictures and stuff. And I forgot to press private. But anyway, I have to say Calamira to you in take because it's good morning, not good afternoon. I always say good afternoon, good evening, whatever. But here's why, if he doesn't come, I'm not going to bother. Okay? That's why I'm not going to worry. Because despite what some factions of City fans say, Cheeky Begeristan, our sporting director, he's not got a bad record. He's not got a bad record, especially in the last 6-7 years, of picking winners, picking top players, and getting rid of people at the right time. And people say, "Well, we're selling them too cheap." Well, it doesn't matter. Overall, in the grand scheme of things, whatever we're doing off the pitch is working. Look at, and we walk away from deals. We walk away from deals if we don't think they're right.
Is there a better run club in the world?
No, there isn't. There isn't. Look at some deals we walked away for in the last 5 years. Alexis Sanchez. He went to United and he stunk the place out. Fred walked away from that. He went to United. Wasn't as bad as Sanchez. Maguire, we walked away from Maguire when he got too silly. He's gone and stunk the place out. We walked away from a couple of other deals. Koulibaly. We walked away from the Koulibaly deal. Even though former Berardi said we weren't in for him, I still dispute that.
Yeah, we had the old left back last year, didn't we, from Brighton? That we walked away from that, thankfully, based on what he's done at Chelsea.
We're going to pay big money for him. Look what he's done. We walked away from the Koulibaly deal and possibly Jules Koundé as well, and we ended up with Ruben Dias. We walked away from the Kane deal. Kane would have come to City if City had offered Tottenham 150 million quid. He would have come. I think Levy would have sold him. He didn't come. Who did we get instead? Erling Haaland. So, the last few years have been littered with instances where players have asked for too much money or we think their mind, mind's not in it. Look, I work with a lot of people who I look for new contractors. And I'm talking to somebody, and if they're focused on money is all they're talking about, I'm not interested. I want to focus on I'll sort the money out. I'll make sure we do you right. But I want to see how much you care about what you're doing, how much you care about the clients we work for, how much you care about doing a good job. Will you go over and above? Are you going to be a clock watcher? Money will take care of itself. If I don't offer you enough, you won't work for me. Simple as that. And I make sure I'll give you enough so that you don't go anywhere else. If you're good enough, I want to keep my staff. So, It's the same. It's exactly the same. If a person's motivations is driven by the wrong thing, if it's driven by money, they can do one. You know, all these players going to Saudi Arabia, what are they going for, Bernard?
That's not for the quality of football, is it?
But they don't care. They're going for the money, and it's quite open. And there's nothing wrong with that.
I have nothing against a 34, 35-year-old player of any quality going over there and earning what he can for his family and setting himself even more up than they are already.
Yeah, but, you know, and people like Gary Neville and Carragher are having a go at people who, well, look, leaving it's hurting the integrity of the English league. Well, as someone said, hang on, the Premier League gets some of the best players from South America, the best players from Africa. Surely it's hurting leagues in their respective countries if you're taking their best players away. But they go for economic reasons and ambition to win stuff in the bigger leagues. But it's not been a problem when the Premier League have done it. It's not been an issue. And now that side you've got, and they're talking about the money's obscene. Well, hang on. It's the same case. The money's obscene. You know, you're getting a player, you know, like Kolo Touré, they paid about half. I was listening to something about him today. Arsenal paid about £500,000 for him or something. And N'Golo Kante, 400 grand Leicester paid for him. So, you know, they took him away from the weaker French league. So a lot of French players come over because that's a weaker league and there's more money here. It's as simple as that. Why is London, you know, I think London would be the second biggest city of French people. Is it in the world or something like that outside France? Because all the, you know, it's a better place to do business, as simple as that. So, you know, and players are good. The only way Saudi can attract players is the same way in 2008 that City could. How could City attract players in 2008, Bernard? Money. Let's be honest about it. It's money. So whatever ambition and all that, no, people are coming for the money. Now people are not just coming for the money at City. It's different. It's taken a few years to turn that around. And it'll be the same with Saudi. As they get better players, the prestige of the league will drive up and people will be coming still for the money, but also a little bit for the prestige of playing with, hey, Ronaldo's there. Benzema, who won the Ballon d'Or last season. He's there. N'Golo Kante, Champions League winner, World Cup winner. You know, okay, some of them have been injured and they're past their prime, but they're now targeting players like Ruben Neves, who are in their prime. Bernardo Silva, in his prime. He may or may not go. So there's nothing wrong with that. People are motivated by money. There's nothing wrong with that. I was talking to somebody yesterday. I said, we were chatting, you know, money's money. As long as you do it legally, money's money. Shouldn't matter. So so when you look at, you know, it's a City now with Cheeky, Beguerissan, the decisions he's been making with Pep and others and the players he's brought in, we've got no reason not to trust them. We've got no reason. Can you think of any more instances where we've let players go or we've not, you know, like Ferran Torres, we let him go. We've got a lot of money for him. And we got Julian Alvarez instead. Now, who's got the best out of that deal? The fan base don't talk about that.
No. Well, there's nobody. I mean, there's nobody we've let go that has actually gone on to great things. I mean, they've done okay, fine. I mean, everyone's, you know, still banging on about Sane, aren't they? I'm sick of hearing about bloody Sane. He went, he's gone, he's not coming back. Simple, and leave it at that. It's good to the lad, but he's, you know, he's not pulling up trees, are they? They move on with our blessings mainly. You know, for even Cancelo, if you like, who of course in theory is coming back. I don't know. I've not heard anything recently, but you know, they move on, and that's how it should be. So it's a business at the end of the day. Some players have a love for a club. Some players never have that love for a club. And some players will happily move on and try and do something else. And we'll say good luck.
Yeah, if you stay long enough, you get that. You develop that love for the club. If you stay, you know, Bernardo Silva would love City, no doubt about it. Pep loves City. You stay long enough, you get that.
I mean, any club. I mean, you know, any club you play. I mean, West Ham will have their heroes, and they won't be big names like we've got now. But that would be a similar style to them, perhaps, if we'd carried on with sort of small owners, if you like. We didn't have this lottery win, which is what it was, basically. It was a lottery win getting these guys in. Of course it was. But we got the lottery win with the backup to it as well, the forward planning, the thinking, the intelligence. All right, we've got these 115 charges, but, you know, we have to have faith in our guys that that's all gonna be okay, because it's just a ploy or whatever it is, and we have to have faith in the chairman when he comes on and does his interviews. You can only take confidence from what he says, and that's all we can do. So obviously that won't be sorted anytime soon. But again, that's like tradition and history. That is the only thing they've got to throw at us at the moment. All the clubs.
Absolutely. They got it right so many times that who are we to question? If they get it right so many times, and history's proven them right. Let's go through a couple of points and then we will knock on the head. So we got Fagri says, I think Man City are playing poker. They're using the Declan Rice story while actually chasing players they really want without anyone knowing about their interest in that players. It'd be a new tactic because they've not done that before. So Alex says, personally, I don't mind if we don't get him. I think we have better options. Anthony Johnson says, I wouldn't mind signing him, but won't be disappointed if he doesn't come. And I think we kind of agree there, don't we, Bernard? We wouldn't mind him, but if he don't come, hey, big deal.
Well, it's this Guardiola thing, isn't it? I mean, at this point in time, do we really need another defender? But that's what I'm saying. Pep's changed his philosophy, I think. And you look at people like Lewis and Stones, and they're not really defenders anymore. So, probably does need a defender, because Aki's the only one who perhaps is not moving forward, not perhaps looked as smooth as some others, but he's had little samples of it. I mean, Rico Lewis has proved he can move forward and do bits. Stones has certainly proved he can move forward and do bits. So, it's just that's how it is. I say Guardiola's an unusual one for me, but if they're going to pay that sort of money, which they're talking about at the moment, then Pep's got his plans for him, and he knows what he's doing, or he knows other players are going as well to make up for it.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're listening, Declan, make the right choice, buddy. Put ambition. Well, no, put ambition first. Ambition is win. If you want to leave, the point is, again, I reiterate, if you're leaving West Ham to win trophies, it's only one place that you're probably guaranteed to win trophies. Yeah. If you're leaving to win the odd tin pot or two, go to Arsenal. If you're worried about your starting place, remember, Pep makes players better. Look at what John Stones is doing. Look at what John Stones is doing. Look what Pep's done to him. Look at KDB, how much he's improved since Pep's been there. Look at everybody. Haaland's talking about how much he's improved, under Pep. Look at how much you're going to improve, Declan. You will.
Rodri's his prime example, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. But if Declan Rice comes to City, he will continue his rise up. And he would do that at Arsenal as well, I believe. But I think it'd be a much faster paced rise. And I think Declan will get much further in his career, as in a quality of player that he is under Pep. He'll become more flexible. And I think we'll see a new side to Declan Rice that would, when he retires, he'll look back and says, bloody hell, I'm glad.
Well, dare I say at the moment, any team, say 3-4 years down the line, buying a player from City, it's more kudos than buying a player from Arsenal.
Yeah.
Simple as.
Right, guys, we're going to hit the road because I've just realised what time it is and I've got to pack and get on the road before I get too tired. It's a long old trip to Northern Ireland tonight. Bernard, as ever.
Yeah. Safe trip, mate. Yeah, safe trip.
Thanks for coming on. I'll try and do some stuff whilst I'm over there because I was telling Bernard earlier, we finish quite early. My work finishes quite early in the day, so my evenings are quite empty. And I'm staying in the middle of nowhere. Your neighbours are the cows. And that's not a naughty comment there. The neighbours are some fields of cows, and that's it. And so there's and the nearest town is about 3 or 4 miles away. So there's not a lot to do there. So I hopefully will do something every evening and get videos at you guys. Guys, look after yourselves. Thanks a lot, Bernard. And make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you around Blues. Take care, guys.